Friends, if you want to watch the evergreen romantic classic Dirty Dancing 1987 in English, then you are surely going to enjoy this video because today's breakdown is full of nostalgia, fun, dance, romance, and cinema talk. If you are visiting our channel for the very first time, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on exciting movie discussions, detailed breakdowns, and informative film-related content. Friends, in today's video we are going to talk about a film that has lived in people's hearts for decades. A movie that made audiences fall in love with dance, music, and unforgettable characters. Yes, the movie we are talking about today is called Dirty Dancing. We will dive into what this movie is about, why it became such a huge sensation, and where you can watch it today. I will be sharing all the interesting, surprising, and fun facts related to Dirty Dancing that many viewers might not know. In today's video, I will also give you complete information about which OTT platform or satellite channel you can watch Dirty Dancing on. So if you have been searching for a place to stream it, this video will clear all your doubts. Along with that, we will talk in detail about the technical department, such as the cinematography, editing, choreography, and direction of this film. We will also explore its iconic music department because Dirty Dancing's soundtrack became a cultural phenomenon, and the songs played a massive role in the film's success. We will discuss how the story went from pre-production planning to script development, the filming phase with its challenges and behind-the-scenes happenings, and how the team completed the post-production stages including editing, music recording, and final touches. You will also learn about the budget of this film, how much money was spent in making it, and how it performed at the box office, including how it turned into one of the biggest unexpected hits of its time. We will also talk about the complete story of Dirty Dancing in a fun, engaging manner, and I will give you a small review of the plot so you get a clear idea of what makes this movie so special and why it remains a favorite for generations. Apart from this, we will cover interesting facts about the making of the film, stories from behind the camera, the star cast, the performance of each actor, and which actor played which memorable character in the movie. We will discuss how the chemistry between the lead actors created magic on screen, how their performances contributed to the film's long-lasting popularity, and why fans still remember the dialogues, dance sequences, and iconic scenes even after decades. So friends, I request you to watch this video till the end because this one is going to be filled with exciting, nostalgic, and entertaining information about a movie that changed dance-based romance films forever. So without wasting any more time, let's start the video. The plot of Dirty Dancing 1987 unfolds like a summer adventure that slowly transforms into a deeply emotional and life-changing experience, filled with passion, music, rebellion, and personal growth. It begins in the early 1960s, a time when society's rules were strict and expectations, especially for young women, were clearly outlined. Into this world enters Frances "Baby" Houseman, an intelligent, idealistic teenager who travels with her family to Kellerman's, a polished and respectable summer resort. At first, the narrative sets up a very traditional coming-of-age setting. Baby is the obedient daughter, the one with big dreams of changing the world, and her parents expect her to follow a safe, respectable path. Kellerman's appears to be the perfect place for polite family fun, ballroom dance lessons, and country club-style entertainment. But this safe, predictable surface is only half the truth. The first major narrative shift happens when Baby wanders into the staff quarters at night and discovers a very different world hidden behind Kellerman's polished exterior. Here, the staff dance freely with raw energy, sensuality, and emotion, completely unlike the controlled, proper performances seen in the main resort. This becomes Baby's entry point into a world that challenges everything she has been raised to believe. This moment is a key turning point because the narrative stops being just about a family vacation and becomes a story of curiosity, awakening, and stepping outside societal expectations. It's also where Baby meets Johnny Castle, the resort's magnetic dance instructor, whose confidence and independence immediately fascinate her. From here, the plot mostly follows a linear structure, but the emotional pacing and character transformations give it a vibrant and ever-growing rhythm. When Penny, Johnny's dance partner, faces a personal crisis, Baby tries to help, and her involvement pulls her deeper into the lives of the resort staff. Baby's decision to replace Penny as Johnny's dance partner becomes the second major turning point in the narrative. Suddenly, Baby is thrown into intense dance training, which becomes the foundation of her transformation. These rehearsals are not just about learning steps. They become a storytelling device that shows the slow build of trust, chemistry, vulnerability, and emotional connection between Baby and Johnny. Dirty Dancing uses dance as a narrative language. Each rehearsal scene shows growth. First awkwardness, then frustration, then breakthrough moments that mirror Baby's evolution as a person. Dance becomes a metaphor for freedom, identity, and breaking societal norms. The tension rises when Baby and Johnny must perform at a neighboring resort, an event that tests Baby's courage, determination, and confidence. This performance marks a milestone because it visually shows how far Baby has come from the shy girl who could barely follow the rhythm to someone ready to step into the spotlight. But the plot deepens beyond romance and dance. Another turning point arrives when Baby's father discovers her involvement with Johnny. This brings emotional conflict, disappointment, and a clash of values. Baby is forced to choose between the safe world her father built and the new version of herself that she is discovering. Through this, the story explores themes of class divide, judgment, and personal responsibility. The emotional stakes climb further when Johnny is accused of a theft he did not commit. Baby's decision to stand up for him, despite knowing it will shatter her father's idealized image of her, becomes a crucial emotional breakthrough. It is the moment she becomes her own person rather than the daughter living under approval. As the story moves toward its climax, the narrative shifts from internal struggle to self-expression and liberation. The build-up to the final dance is not just about performing well. It becomes a symbolic moment of courage, acceptance, and empowerment. The iconic final performance acts as the narrative's emotional release, where Baby and Johnny break the divides of class, expectation, and judgment, and simply express their truth through dance. It becomes a celebration of everything the story has been building toward: confidence, love, independence, and choosing one's own path. Dirty Dancing may appear to follow a typical coming-of-age romance on the surface, but the layered themes of social inequality, identity, rebellion, courage, and personal transformation give the narrative a much richer and more powerful structure. Rather than relying on dramatic plot twists, the film uses emotional turning points to steadily deepen its impact. The plot flows smoothly from innocence to awakening, from curiosity to discovery, and from self-doubt to self-liberation, making the storytelling both engaging and surprisingly profound. The character development in Dirty Dancing 1987 is one of the most fascinating aspects of the film because the characters are not just fulfilling roles in a romance, they are growing, shedding layers, and discovering parts of themselves they never knew existed. The story uses relationships, conflicts, class differences, and personal choices to shape each character's journey, turning them into fully formed individuals rather than simple romantic clichés. At the center of the film is Frances "Baby" Houseman, whose transformation is the heartbeat of the narrative. Baby begins as a sheltered, idealistic young girl who has been raised to think, act, and dream within the safe boundaries set by her educated, privileged family. She is intelligent, compassionate, and curious, but her worldview is still innocent and somewhat naive at the start. Once she steps into the hidden world of the resort staff, her transformation begins. Each interaction confronts her beliefs, challenges her comfort zone, and pushes her to evolve. Baby's growth is not about changing who she is, but about discovering the courage to act on what she believes in. She goes from a girl who only talks about helping others to someone who actually takes risks, stands up for people who society looks down upon, and makes choices that have personal consequences. Her journey is about self-discovery, independence, and the bravery to step beyond her upbringing. Johnny Castle's character adds depth, contrast, and emotional weight to the story. Johnny starts as a confident, skilled dance instructor who appears tough and self-assured on the outside, but his arc reveals the vulnerable layers hidden under the surface. His biggest challenge is not dance, but the constant judgment he faces because of his social background. He has grown used to people believing he is only good for entertainment, never worthy of respect or emotional value. Baby impacts Johnny in a profound way because she sees him as a human being, not a stereotype. Through their relationship, Johnny begins to see his own worth beyond his job or what society labels him as. He learns to accept love, respect, and emotional connection, something he never believed he deserved. His character arc shifts from survival and self-defense to emotional openness and self-respect, making his growth subtle but powerful. Baby and Johnny's relationship itself is a major source of character development. It is not built on instant attraction alone, but on trust, patience, vulnerability, and learning from one another. Baby brings compassion, hope, and courage into Johnny's life, while Johnny helps Baby break free from fear, conformity, and hesitations. Their bond allows both characters to confront their personal limitations, making their arcs meaningful and intertwined rather than one-sided. Jake Houseman, Baby's father, undergoes a surprisingly layered transformation as well. At first, he represents authority, expectations, and the moral code of the upper class. He adores Baby, but he also assumes he knows what is best for her, and that his worldview is the only correct one. When Baby steps out of his expectations, his internal conflict begins. Through misunderstandings, judgments, and emotional confrontations, he gradually realizes that his daughter is no longer a child and deserves the right to make her own choices. His growth lies in learning to listen, to let go, and to see people without the filter of class or prejudice. Supporting characters like Penny also experience meaningful development. Penny's story introduces themes of shame, judgment, independence, and societal pressure on women. Her journey affects Baby directly and becomes a catalyst for Baby's growth. Even Lisa, Baby's sister, although not in the spotlight, subtly evolves from a self-centered girl focused on appearance and approval to someone who gains a glimpse into deeper emotional maturity by the end. One of the strongest aspects of character development in Dirty Dancing is how each character's arc influences the story's tone and direction. Growth does not happen through lectures or dramatic speeches, but through actions, choices, mistakes, and emotional moments that gradually reshape the characters from within. Relationships evolve in a way that feels organic, not scripted. The characters teach each other lessons that spark real changes, whether it's learning to stand up for oneself, break free from expectations, or see beyond social class. Dirty Dancing uses character development not as a background element, but as the driving force of the narrative. Each character starts with a mask of who they are expected to be, and slowly reveals the truth of who they want to become, making the story not just a love story, but a journey of personal transformation for everyone involved. The performances in Dirty Dancing 1987 play a huge role in making the film feel alive, emotional, and unforgettable. The actors do not simply act out their roles. They embody their characters with such authenticity that the audience feels every moment of joy, heartbreak, tension, and transformation along with them. Each performance adds a unique layer to the film, creating a world that feels genuine and emotionally rich. At the heart of the movie is the performance of Jennifer Grey as Frances, Baby Houseman. She brings a natural innocence, curiosity, and emotional sincerity to the character that makes Baby's journey completely believable. Jennifer doesn't portray Baby as a perfect heroine. Instead, she allows the character to be awkward, uncertain, and vulnerable, especially during the early dance scenes where Baby struggles to find the rhythm. This realism makes her growth even more satisfying to watch. As the story progresses, Jennifer subtly shifts Baby from a shy girl into a confident young woman who learns to stand up for what she believes in. Her expressions, body language, and emotional evolution feel so authentic that the audience connects with her as if watching a real person grow in front of them. Her performance anchors the film and gives it emotional depth. Patrick Swayze as Johnny Castle delivers a powerful and charismatic performance that elevates the film to another level. He brings intensity, passion, and depth to the role, making Johnny more than just a charming dance instructor. Patrick's performance captures both the strength and vulnerability of Johnny's character. He portrays the emotional conflict of a man judged by his social class with remarkable subtlety. His chemistry with Jennifer Grey is one of the strongest elements of the film, and it feels completely natural on screen. The tension, attraction, and emotional connection between them come alive through their performances, especially during the dance sequences. Patrick's background as a trained dancer enhances his performance, as he brings confidence, physical precision, and grace to every dance moment, making the character believable not only emotionally but also artistically. The supporting cast adds even more dimension to the film. Cynthia Rhodes as Penny delivers an impactful performance that carries emotional weight. She plays Penny with a mix of strength and fragility, capturing the struggles of a woman dealing with social judgment and personal crisis. Her dance talent, combined with her ability to convey vulnerability, makes her storyline one of the most emotionally compelling parts of the film. Her scenes with Jennifer Grey add depth to Baby's transformation, because Penny becomes both a symbol of the harsh realities of the world and a mentor figure within it. Jerry Orbach, who plays Baby's father Jake Houseman, brings a grounded and controlled performance that adds emotional tension to the story. His calm, authoritative presence gives the role dignity and complexity. He expresses disappointment, confusion, and pride not through dramatic outbursts but through small, nuanced reactions. His performance makes the father-daughter dynamic feel honest and relatable. Kelly Bishop as Baby's mother also adds authenticity, playing a supportive yet distant figure who gradually comes to understand her daughter's emotional world. Even the smaller roles contribute strongly to the film's impact. Jack Weston as Max Kellerman and Jane Brucker as Baby's sister Lisa bring moments of humor, realism, and family dynamics that balance the heavier emotional themes. Each actor, no matter how small the role, adds flavor to the overall narrative, making the resort environment feel lively and believable. What truly makes the performances in Dirty Dancing stand out is how the emotional and physical aspects of acting merge through dance. The actors use movement, eye contact, and body language to express emotions that words alone cannot convey. This combination of acting and dancing creates a deeper level of storytelling, and the cast delivers it with remarkable skill. The performances in Dirty Dancing do more than tell a story. They make the audience feel it. Every look, every hesitation, every dance step carries emotion. The cast brings authenticity to the characters, making the film timeless and allowing viewers to remain connected to it across generations. The direction of Dirty Dancing 1987 plays a transformative role in shaping the film's tone, mood, and emotional grip. The director guides the story like a dance itself, starting gently, building rhythm, then sweeping the audience into powerful emotional and visual moments that stay long after the film ends. The directorial choices are carefully crafted to make the film feel intimate, romantic, rebellious, and liberating all at once, turning a simple summer romance into a cinematic experience full of energy and heart. Right from the opening, the director sets a nostalgic and warm tone that instantly transports the audience into the early 1960s. The world of Kellerman's resort is built with a soft, inviting mood, making it appear like a picture-perfect family vacation spot. But the direction ensures that the surface-level charm gradually gives way to the more thrilling, passionate, and raw world of dance hidden behind the scenes. This shift in tone is handled smoothly, guiding the audience from innocence to discovery in the same way Baby experiences it. The director maintains a consistent emotional rhythm throughout the film, letting the story unfold like a journey rather than rushing through key moments. One of the strongest directorial strengths is how dance is used as storytelling instead of decorative entertainment. The director treats every dance scene as a narrative tool. Shot composition, camera angles, and pacing during dance rehearsals and performances reveal the changing relationship between Baby and Johnny. The director often keeps the camera close, capturing small gestures, eye contact, and breathing between characters. These choices make dance sequences feel intimate, allowing the audience to experience the chemistry and emotional tension firsthand, rather than viewing it from a distance. The famous rehearsal scenes where Baby struggles, improves, and slowly becomes confident are filmed with a raw and natural style that makes viewers feel part of the process. The pacing of the film is a key element that enhances its impact. The director balances light, humorous moments with emotional and intense scenes so smoothly that the story never feels rushed or dragged. Early scenes move at a calm pace to establish character foundations, but as the emotional stakes rise, the pacing becomes tighter and more engaging. The shift is never abrupt. Instead, the director lets the film breathe at the right times and builds momentum when emotions or conflict need to hit harder. This rhythm gives the film an engaging flow that keeps viewers invested from the first scene to the final dance. Stylistically, the direction embraces realism with a touch of cinematic romance. Lighting, setting, and shot composition come together to elevate mood. The night scenes in the staff quarters are filmed with warm, low lighting and close framing, giving a sense of secrecy and excitement. In contrast, the ballroom and family areas at the resort are brightly lit and structured, visually reinforcing the divide between the two worlds. These visual choices deepen the themes without needing heavy dialogue to explain them. The final performance scene is directed with an uplifting, liberating energy, capturing the joy of breaking boundaries. The camera doesn't just show the dance. It celebrates it. The director allows the moment to build and then explode into a memorable climax that feels earned because of everything the characters and audience have been taken through. Another standout directorial choice is how emotions are conveyed through silence or small details. Instead of dramatic speeches, the director focuses on subtle gestures. A look from Baby when she begins to see Johnny differently, a reaction from Johnny when he feels respected for the first time, or the tightening expression on Baby's father when he struggles with disapproval. These small, quiet moments pack emotional impact because they are directed with restraint and authenticity. The vision behind the film is clear: to tell a story about courage, love, class barriers, and self-discovery through the power of dance. The director shapes the narrative so that every element supports that vision. Music, choreography, performances, cinematography, and pacing all work together under the director's guidance to create a cohesive emotional journey. The directing style ensures that the film is not simply watched, but felt. Every scene is built with a purpose, whether it is to deepen a relationship, advance growth, or heighten emotional stakes. The direction of Dirty Dancing blends realism with passion, softness with intensity, and storytelling with movement, creating a cinematic rhythm that makes the movie inspiring and emotionally unforgettable. The cinematography of Dirty Dancing 1987 plays a crucial role in shaping the film's emotional experience, transforming dance, romance, and personal growth into visually expressive storytelling. Every camera angle, lighting choice, and framing technique is designed to pull the audience deeper into the world of Kellerman's and into the characters' inner journeys. Instead of flashy or overly stylized shots, the cinematography uses thoughtful visual language that enhances mood, chemistry, and tension in a way that feels natural and immersive. Right at the beginning, the cinematography sets the tone by contrasting the polished, structured world of the resort with the raw, energetic environment of the staff quarters. In the main areas of Kellerman's, shots are wider, brighter, and more composed, reflecting the clean, controlled, upper-class atmosphere where everything looks perfect on the surface. The framing here often keeps characters positioned neatly, symbolizing the social order and expectations placed on them. This style visually shows that Baby's world is organized and predictable. But once the camera follows Baby into the after-hours dance room, the visual style shifts. The lighting becomes warmer and dimmer, the camera moves in closer, and the framing tightens to create a sense of intimacy and intensity. Here, the cinematography captures bodies in motion, sweat, rhythm, and unrestrained expression. The contrast visually reinforces that Baby has stepped into a world where people are free, passionate, and unapologetically themselves. Close-ups are used powerfully throughout the film, especially during dance scenes. Instead of always showing the full choreography, the camera often focuses on hands touching, eye contact, breathing, or slight shifts in expression. These close details make the audience feel the chemistry rather than just observe it. The cinematography treats dance as emotional communication, not just performance. This approach builds tension and connection between Baby and Johnny, turning rehearsals into visual storytelling moments where feelings evolve without words. The natural outdoor settings are also beautifully captured, contributing to the film's romantic and nostalgic charm. Scenes at the lake, wooded paths, and hidden practice locations are shot with softer light and gentle framing, making them feel magical and private. The famous lift practice in the water stands out as a visually striking moment. The natural lighting, reflections on the water, and wide framing create a sense of freedom and possibility. The cinematography here doesn't just show a dance rehearsal. It visually symbolizes Baby stepping out of her fears and Johnny learning to trust her. It's a moment where nature, movement, and emotion come together, making it one of the most memorable images in the film. During dance performances, the camera work becomes more dynamic and fluid. Rather than staying static and showing the entire stage, the cinematography moves with the dancers, capturing the energy and adrenaline of each step. The final performance is especially impactful. The camera follows the dancers with sweeping movement, capturing the excitement and emotional release of the moment. The lighting brightens, the camera pulls back to include the cheering crowd, and the visual tone shifts from intimate struggle to triumphant celebration. This creates a cinematic payoff that feels visually uplifting. Lighting plays a subtle yet powerful role in shaping emotional tone. Soft, warm lighting accompanies scenes of connection and self-discovery, while cooler or structured lighting highlights moments of conflict or social pressure. When Baby and her father share emotionally heavy scenes, the lighting becomes more neutral and still, reflecting the seriousness of their dynamic. When Baby and Johnny are together, the lighting tends to soften, highlighting the emotional warmth and vulnerability between them. The cinematography also uses visual symmetry and contrast to reinforce themes. Scenes involving Baby's family are often shot with balanced, proper framing to show control and tradition. In contrast, scenes with the staff are shot with more movement and unpredictability, bringing life and spontaneity to the visuals. This duality is not accidental. It subtly supports the film's message about breaking away from societal expectations and finding one's authentic self. What makes the cinematography of Dirty Dancing so effective is not that it tries to impress the audience with elaborate techniques, but that it aligns visually with the emotional beats of the story. Every camera movement, lighting choice, and visual composition enhances the atmosphere, deepens the characters' emotional arcs, and makes the audience feel personally connected to the journey. It creates beauty, tension, romance, and growth not through spectacle, but through intention. The editing and pacing of Dirty Dancing 1987 give the film its rhythmic heartbeat, making the story flow with a smooth, engaging tempo that mirrors the emotional and physical movement of dance itself. The film's editors created a balance of storytelling, music, romance, humor, and dramatic tension in a way that keeps the audience hooked from the very first scene to the iconic final lift. The rhythm of the film is carefully crafted so that every emotional beat lands at just the right moment, allowing viewers to fully absorb the journey without feeling rushed or dragged along. From the beginning, the editing introduces a relaxed yet lively pace that matches the summer vacation vibe at Kellerman's. The opening sequences move at a light, breezy rhythm to establish the setting, characters, and family dynamic. These early scenes are cut with a calm tempo that mirrors Baby's sheltered world, allowing the audience to settle into the environment before the story shifts into more intense emotional territory. Once Baby sneaks into the staff quarters and discovers the electrifying world of dancing, the editing picks up pace. Cuts become faster, the energy rises, and the transitions become more dynamic, reflecting the exhilarating world she has stepped into. The contrast in pacing makes the moment feel like a breakthrough, both for Baby and for the audience. One of the strongest editing strengths of the film is how it blends music into the narrative. Song-driven sequences are edited to feel like natural extensions of the story, rather than separate montage moments. Transitions from dialogue to dance or rehearsal scenes are seamless, keeping the energy flowing and preventing the film from ever feeling static. The editor ensures that each dance scene carries emotional weight. For example, the rehearsal sequences are edited to show gradual improvement, growing chemistry, and a shift in confidence through sharp yet smooth transitions. Quick cuts show the frustration and awkwardness in Baby's early attempts, while lingering shots later reveal connection and trust. This visual rhythm transforms dance scenes into storytelling chapters. The pacing is also clever when it comes to emotional development. The film takes its time in moments that require vulnerability or reflection. Scenes between Baby and her father are allowed to breathe, with longer takes and slower transitions so the emotional tension can settle. These quieter moments balance the high-energy dance sequences, preventing the film from becoming overwhelming. The editors knew exactly when to pause and when to accelerate. This controlled pacing keeps viewers emotionally engaged, as the shifts between excitement and introspection enhance the overall impact. One of the most impressive editing choices is how the film builds anticipation. Before key dance scenes, the pacing tightens and the cuts become shorter, creating tension and expectation. The audience feels the nervous energy of the characters. During performances, the editing becomes fluid and rhythmic, allowing the audience to enjoy the dance while still staying emotionally connected. The big lift practice scenes are edited with a playful and flowing tempo, showing progress and bonding in a fun, engaging way. By the time the final performance arrives, the editing shifts into a celebratory rhythm. The camera movement, cut choices, and timing of reaction shots create a sense of triumph that feels earned because the film has gradually built toward it with careful pacing. Transitions between scenes are also handled with clarity and intention. The editing avoids jarring jumps or confusing time lapses. When the film moves from fun resort activities to deeper emotional conflicts, the shift is gradual, giving the audience time to adjust to the new tone. The rhythm of the film becomes slightly more urgent as dramatic stakes rise, especially around Penny's storyline and the conflict between Baby and her father. These moments heighten tension without feeling rushed, because the editing guides the emotional shift with a steady hand. What keeps the film engaging throughout is the consistent sense of movement. Even scenes without dance carry a subtle energy because of the rhythm of the cuts. The editors understood that Dirty Dancing is a film driven by emotion and physicality, so the pacing is tailored to keep the heart of the film beating. Whether it is the slow development of a relationship or the fast excitement of a dance number, the editing ensures each moment lands with its intended emotional impact. The editing and pacing of Dirty Dancing work together to create a viewing experience that feels lively, emotionally rich, and immersive. The film flows with a musical rhythm, using timing, transitions, and scene structure to enhance storytelling and maintain engagement from start to finish. The soundtrack and score of Dirty Dancing 1987 are not just background elements but the lifeblood of the film, shaping its emotional rhythm, heightening its romantic tension, and giving the narrative a pulse that lingers long after the final scene. Music practically acts as a narrator, expressing what the characters cannot always put into words. The soundtrack is a rich mix of 1960s classics and original compositions, each selected not only for their musical appeal but for how they enhance mood, storytelling, and character development. Every major emotional shift is supported, amplified, or given deeper meaning through music, making it one of the most defining aspects of the film. The placement of music throughout the film is remarkably deliberate. The early tracks, often lively and upbeat, mirror the carefree summer holiday atmosphere of Kellerman's resort. Songs that play during family activities, dance lessons, or group events help establish a sense of fun and nostalgia. They allow the audience to settle comfortably into the period's setting and feel the charm of the vacation environment. However, the soundtrack becomes more daring and emotionally charged as Baby steps further into the world of sensual dance and forbidden love. Music transitions from cheerful to more intimate, creating a sonic shift that mirrors Baby's emotional awakening. It invites the audience to experience the discovery of desire, tension, longing, and self-expression just as she does. One of the most iconic aspects of Dirty Dancing is how it uses music to intensify the chemistry between Baby and Johnny. When their dance training begins, the music takes on a rhythm that matches the evolving connection between them. Songs with pulsing beats, strong percussion, or slow-burning melodies highlight the shift from awkwardness to fluid synchronization. As they rehearse, the soundtrack underscores the transitions from clumsy steps to harmony, reinforcing their emotional and physical closeness. Rather than relying on dialogue, the music takes over as a storytelling device, communicating the sensuality, playfulness, and growing trust between the characters. The audience feels their chemistry not through words, but through rhythm. Silence and minimal scoring also play a subtle yet powerful role. In scenes loaded with internal conflict or emotional intensity, the absence of music becomes a storytelling tool. Silence creates space for tension to settle, especially during confrontations, misunderstandings, or intimate conversations. It allows the audience to focus on expressions, gestures, and unspoken feelings without distraction. When the music returns after a quiet moment, it hits with greater emotional force, making the experience more impactful. This thoughtful use of silence highlights the filmmaker's understanding that music is most effective when contrasted with stillness. The score supports the soundtrack without overwhelming it. While the film leans heavily on popular songs of the era and original hits, the underlying score connects scenes and maintains tonal coherence. The score weaves through moments of transition, reflection, and emotional complexity, providing continuity between the featured musical tracks. It enhances the atmosphere without taking attention away from the narrative or the standout songs. The balance between original scoring and licensed music is handled with remarkable precision, creating a cohesive musical identity that feels organic to the story. The film's musical choices also craft emotional milestones. Each key moment in the narrative is tied to a memorable track, creating lasting associations that audiences carry long after the film ends. Whether it is a passionate dance sequence, a moment of heartbreak, or a triumphant release of tension, the music intensifies the emotional impact and ensures that the mood of each scene is felt as strongly as it is seen. Certain songs become anthems of transformation, marking shifts not only in the plot but in the characters themselves. The film's final performance scene demonstrates the full power of music in bringing narrative threads together. The build-up through the melody, the emotional release in the vocals, and the synchronization of movement and sound create a cinematic moment that feels euphoric and unforgettable. The audience experiences a culmination of everything the music has been building toward. The soundtrack and score of Dirty Dancing elevate the film beyond a traditional romance or dance drama. The music shapes tone, reveals emotion, drives narrative progression, and creates an atmosphere that pulls the audience into the world of the characters. It enhances every emotional beat, from youthful innocence to mature self-discovery, ensuring that each scene resonates with clarity and feeling. Dirty Dancing 1987 may appear to be a simple summer romance set against the backdrop of dance and youthful adventure, but beneath its charming exterior, the film explores a range of rich themes and meaningful messages that give it emotional depth and cultural significance. These themes unfold naturally through the characters' experiences, decisions, and interactions, making the film resonate on a deeper level. Rather than forcing ideas onto the audience, the film allows them to emerge organically through storytelling, relationships, and personal transformation, leaving viewers with plenty to reflect on long after the credits roll. One of the strongest themes running through the film is personal growth and self-discovery. The journey that Baby undergoes is not just about learning to dance. It is about learning to trust herself, acknowledge her desires, challenge assumptions, and step into her own identity separate from her family's expectations. At the start, Baby is sheltered, idealistic, and shaped by her parents' worldview. As the film progresses, she discovers layers of courage, independence, and self-expression that she never realized she possessed. The film uses dance as a metaphor for confidence, freedom, and embracing one's true self. Baby's transformation is not superficial. It is an emotional and intellectual evolution that encourages viewers to recognize the value of breaking away from comfort zones to truly grow. The film also examines class differences and social inequality, showing how privilege influences relationships, opportunities, and perceptions. Kellerman's resort becomes a microcosm of societal class structures, where wealthy guests are treated with respect, while working staff and dancers are viewed as entertainment rather than individuals with aspirations and struggles. Baby's relationship with Johnny challenges these social boundaries, forcing her to confront how class prejudice shapes people's assumptions about worth and morality. Through their bond, the film raises questions about who gets judged, who gets forgiven, and who is allowed to dream. It subtly encourages viewers to question stereotypes and see beyond surface labels. Another powerful theme present in the film is empowerment, particularly female empowerment. Baby's assertiveness is a central force in the narrative. She stands up for Penny when she needs help, challenges her father's moral judgments, and makes bold decisions that are uncomfortable but necessary. Instead of portraying her as a passive romantic interest, the film gives her agency. She is the one who initiates change, takes risks, and refuses to remain silent in the face of injustice. The story highlights the importance of speaking up, taking responsibility, and acting compassionately even when it is difficult. The message is clear. Bravery is not about being fearless, but about acting despite fear. The film also touches on themes of bodily autonomy and judgment. Penny's storyline addresses sensitive issues in a time when such conversations were rarely seen in mainstream cinema. Her situation sheds light on the lack of support for women, the stigma attached to personal choices, and the consequences of shame. The film approaches this subject with emotional honesty rather than sensationalism, encouraging empathy instead of judgment. Through Penny's arc, the film suggests that compassion, understanding, and access to support are vital, and that society's harsh moral labels often create harm rather than protection. Love and acceptance form another core theme. Baby and Johnny's connection goes beyond attraction. It becomes a catalyst for acceptance of differences. Their relationship is built on honesty, respect, and emotional vulnerability. Each helps the other confront fears, insecurities, and limitations. Rather than romanticizing a perfect match, the film focuses on how two very different individuals can learn from one another, break barriers, and grow. The message is that genuine connection arises when people accept each other without trying to change who they are. Dirty Dancing also explores the theme of breaking societal norms. Characters who dare to challenge rules, expectations, and traditions are the ones who evolve. The film encourages the idea that conformity may feel safe, but it restricts individuality and emotional truth. Choosing authenticity over approval is depicted as liberating, even if the journey is messy. By the end, the film celebrates the idea that life becomes meaningful when one chooses honesty, passion, and freedom over fear, judgment, or social pressure. These themes are woven seamlessly into the narrative, characters, and music, allowing the film to be enjoyed both as an entertaining love story and as a thoughtful exploration of identity, class, courage, and societal change. The result is a story that feels light in mood yet layered in meaning, leaving the audience entertained, moved, and quietly inspired. When it comes to visual effects and CGI, Dirty Dancing 1987 stands in a very different category compared to modern films that rely heavily on digital enhancements. This film was made in an era when CGI was either extremely limited or barely used at all, and that actually works in its favor. Instead of digital trickery, the production leans entirely on real settings, practical filmmaking techniques, and authentic choreography to create immersion. The absence of CGI keeps the experience grounded, natural, and almost intimate, allowing audiences to feel as if they are truly witnessing the events unfold right in front of them rather than through a screen enhanced by artificial visuals. The film's magic does not come from visual effects but from capturing genuine human movement, chemistry, and emotional expression. Every dance sequence is performed live, filmed with natural energy and spontaneity. The realism of these scenes creates a direct connection with the audience. You can practically feel the sweat, the practice, the hesitation, the triumph, because nothing is manufactured with computer graphics. The authenticity of human performance becomes the strongest visual effect in the movie. The excitement viewers feel when Baby nails a dance move or when the dancers perform a seamless routine comes from real physical effort rather than digital polishing. The practical approach extends to the film's use of real locations and sets. The resort atmosphere, the dance studios, the staff quarters, the lake, and the performance stage all provide a sense of place that feels tangible. There are no digital backgrounds or artificial landscapes. Everything is captured through the camera lens exactly as it exists. This helps preserve the nostalgic summertime feeling of the film. The surroundings enhance the story organically rather than distract from it. The charm of Kellerman's resort works because it feels like a place the audience could visit themselves. Practical design elements such as costumes, lighting, and set decorations do the job that CGI might attempt today, but with far more warmth and authenticity. Even the dance lifts and dramatic moments are achieved with practical execution. Think of the iconic lift scene at the lake. In a modern production, it might be polished with visual enhancement or filmed in a controlled studio with wires removed in post-production. But here, viewers see the natural splashes of water, the real physical challenge, and the little imperfections that make the scene unforgettable. The magic lies not in special effects but in capturing the thrill of learning, failing, laughing, and finally succeeding. These real moments resonate far more than any digital effect could. The film's editing and cinematography also play a part in making the visuals feel dynamic without relying on special effects. The camera highlights movement, timing, body language, and tension through clever framing and rhythm. The visual storytelling focuses on emotion, expression, and timing rather than spectacle. When characters dance, the viewer is not distracted by flashy effects. Instead, attention remains on the movement, chemistry, and emotional arc conveyed through dance. This artistic decision ensures that the story remains character-driven, not technology-driven. If one compares practical filmmaking to digital techniques, Dirty Dancing demonstrates that practical effects can be far more emotionally impactful than CGI when used appropriately. CGI can sometimes make scenes feel glossy or overly polished, while practical filming preserves vulnerability, rawness, and human warmth. The film captures real reactions, real eye contact, real breathlessness, and real physical strain. These elements give dance scenes power that digital enhancement could never replicate. Dirty Dancing proves that films built on genuine performance and practical craftsmanship can remain timeless even as technology evolves. The lack of CGI never feels like a limitation. Instead, it becomes a strength, reinforcing the film's grounded tone and emotional authenticity. The visuals support the storytelling rather than overpower it. Because everything visible on screen feels real, audiences become fully immersed in the world, not as spectators of a spectacle, but as silent guests inside the resort, watching lives change through dance, courage, and connection. The set design and locations in Dirty Dancing 1987 play a crucial role in bringing the story to life and immersing the audience in the summer of the early 1960s. Instead of feeling like artificial movie sets, the environments feel lived in, familiar, and bursting with personality. The production design crafts a world that is both nostalgic and authentic, capturing the essence of a family resort where social classes mingle, summer romances bloom, and personal transformations unfold. Every location is chosen to enhance storytelling, character dynamics, and emotional atmosphere, making the setting almost a character in itself. The film's primary location, Kellerman's resort, instantly transports the audience to a luxurious yet traditional summer holiday destination. The resort exudes a sense of structured leisure and carefully maintained elegance, reflecting the expectations and behaviors of its middle and upper-class guests. The main lodge, dining areas, entertainment spaces, and guest cabins all help establish the environment as a controlled social bubble where families follow routines, etiquette is valued, and appearances matter. This makes every scene in the main resort area feel polished and proper, perfectly mirroring the societal expectations Baby is initially confined by. The traditional decor, vintage furnishings, and soft pastel tones reinforce the nostalgic charm of the period, grounding the story firmly in its time. In contrast, the set design for the staff living quarters creates an entirely different atmosphere. Here, the energy shifts from formal to relaxed, expressive, and rebellious. The staff cabins, recreation areas, and dance practice spaces are more vibrant, cluttered, and full of movement. The set design cleverly highlights the divide between the polished world of the guests and the raw, passionate world of the workers. While the resort areas emphasize structure, the staff areas reflect freedom, creativity, and self-expression. Dim lighting, narrow hallways, and intimate interiors capture the closeness and intensity of this community, making the audience feel the contrast between the two worlds Baby enters and must navigate. One of the most memorable locations is the dance practice space where Baby and Johnny rehearse. Whether it is a rustic studio, a narrow staff room, or an open outdoor area, each setting adds layers of meaning to their journey. The rehearsal spaces feel unpolished and imperfect, symbolizing personal growth and vulnerability. The spaces allow viewers to watch Baby shed hesitation, confront her insecurities, and adapt to a new environment that challenges her worldview. The simplicity of these sets keeps the focus on character development rather than spectacle, making every rehearsal scene emotionally engaging. The famous outdoor locations further enrich the film's visual storytelling. The lake scene, where Baby and Johnny practice the iconic lift, remains one of the most visually unforgettable moments. Instead of choosing a comfortable studio environment, the filmmakers opted for a natural setting that embodies risk, excitement, and adventure. The trees, the calm water, and the sense of isolation make the scene feel deeply intimate, symbolizing Baby's willingness to step outside her comfort zone. The natural environment enhances the authenticity of the moment, giving the scene an organic, almost magical quality. Even transitional spaces like pathways, staircases, and lawns serve a purpose. Characters frequently move between locations, and these transitions visually reflect Baby's emotional journey between two worlds. The sets are not just static backdrops but interactive spaces that allow relationships to evolve and identities to shift. The thoughtful use of physical space becomes a visual representation of growth, conflict, and connection. Props and period details further reinforce the setting. From the costumes and dining tableware to signage, posters, and dance equipment, every detail supports the illusion of the 1960s summer resort lifestyle. The production team ensures that each visual element contributes to the film's time period and atmosphere. The props never feel like decorative extras. They help the audience understand character habits, cultural norms, and social expectations of the era. Overall, the set design and locations in Dirty Dancing do more than create a believable world. They deepen the narrative and intensify emotional undercurrents. By contrasting spaces of comfort and constraint with spaces of freedom and expression, the film visually represents its core themes. The settings make the audience feel part of the resort experience, inviting them into a world where dance becomes a gateway to transformation, independence, and heartfelt discovery. The dialogue and script of Dirty Dancing 1987 bring a lively heartbeat to the film, shaping not only the tone of the narrative but also defining the characters' personalities, relationships, and emotional journeys. The writing strikes a balance between playful charm, heartfelt sincerity, and socially conscious undertones. Every interaction feels rooted in authenticity, whether it is a light tease between family members, a heated conflict filled with suppressed emotion, or a quiet moment of vulnerability shared between two people discovering themselves. The script never feels artificial or overwritten. Instead, it flows naturally, capturing the rhythm of real conversation while still delivering memorable lines that have become iconic in popular culture. The script uses dialogue as a way of revealing character growth, especially in the case of Baby. At the beginning, her language reflects innocence, idealism, and a sheltered upbringing. She speaks with politeness, curiosity, and youthful certainty about the world. As she steps into new emotional territory, her dialogue becomes more assertive, honest, and emotionally charged. Her voice shifts from hesitant softness to confident clarity, especially when she confronts her father or stands up for what she believes is right. The script charts her transformation not through dramatic speeches but through subtle changes in tone, choice of words, and emotional delivery. The writing allows the audience to hear her inner awakening, not just see it. Johnny's dialogue, on the other hand, is crafted to reflect someone who has lived a life of struggle, judgment, and constant misunderstanding. His words often carry hidden frustration, defensiveness, and sensitivity. He speaks with short, direct lines, especially when he feels cornered or judged, highlighting his instinct to protect himself emotionally. However, he also has moments where the script allows his vulnerability to break through, revealing the depth beneath his tough exterior. His emotional honesty becomes most impactful in scenes where he feels safe enough to talk openly, and these shifts give his character dimension and humanity. The dialogue between Baby and Johnny is especially important in shaping their relationship. Their conversations are not full of polished romantic lines but rather a mixture of awkwardness, curiosity, tension, and unfiltered emotion. This makes their interactions believable and relatable. Their exchanges evolve from nervous and polite to open and intimate, reflecting the gradual development of trust between them. The script lets the audience witness the hesitation, misunderstandings, and emotional breakthroughs that make their connection feel genuine. Their conversations provide windows into their perspectives, fears, and desires, making their bond richer and more layered. The script also adds humor with natural ease. The film includes light, witty moments that give breathing room between heavier or emotional scenes. Friendly banter among the staff, sibling teasing in Baby's family, and playful exchanges between dancers and guests add personality and warmth. The humor never feels forced. Instead, it arises from relatable human behavior. These moments keep the tone balanced, making the emotional moments more impactful when they arrive. Beyond romance and humor, the script uses dialogue to subtly address themes of class, judgment, and personal values. Conversations between Baby and her father reveal generational expectations, moral rigidity, and the struggle to reconcile love with personal belief. Their exchanges are not melodramatic. They are filled with emotional restraint, making the tension more realistic. The script shows how silence, pauses, and unspoken disappointment can communicate more than words. The writing embraces the power of quiet conflict, letting the audience read between the lines. The film also includes lines that have become defining moments in cinema history. These lines are remembered not because they are poetic or complex, but because they perfectly capture the emotional energy of the moment in simple, direct language. They serve as anchors in the narrative, marking turning points in relationships, self-discovery, or emotional release. These standout lines continue to be quoted decades later because they resonate with universal feelings of courage, belonging, and acceptance. Every piece of dialogue serves a purpose, whether it is advancing the plot, deepening character, or highlighting emotional stakes. The script is crafted with an understanding that meaningful storytelling does not always require grand speeches. Sometimes the simplest line, delivered at the right moment, can leave the most lasting impression. Dirty Dancing 1987 sits comfortably within the romance and coming-of-age genre, yet the way it delivers these elements gives the film a distinct identity that sets it apart from many other love stories of its era. At first glance, the framework appears familiar. A summer romance, an innocent girl discovering herself, and a charismatic but misunderstood love interest. However, the film does not rely solely on predictable genre tropes. Instead, it elevates and reshapes them through emotional authenticity, bold thematic choices, and a unique fusion of romance, drama, music, and dance. It uses the conventions of its genre as a foundation, then expands beyond them to explore deeper ideas and fresher perspectives. The film follows some classic romance genre conventions, such as opposites attracting and love serving as a catalyst for personal transformation. Baby and Johnny fit the archetype of the sheltered young woman and the rebellious, experienced man. But the execution breaks away from cliché because their connection is not based on superficial attraction or dramatic fantasy. Instead of falling into romance instantly, their relationship grows through shared effort, vulnerability, and mutual learning. The film resists the typical fairy tale approach where love magically fixes everything. It acknowledges that love is powerful but not always simple or socially accepted. This realistic treatment gives the romance emotional weight and credibility within the genre. Dirty Dancing also refreshes the coming-of-age narrative. Many coming-of-age films focus on teenage rebellion or dramatic acts of independence, but this story focuses on emotional intelligence, compassion, and moral courage as markers of maturity. Baby's growth is not defined by defiance for the sake of rebellion, but by thoughtful decisions driven by empathy and personal conviction. This gives the genre a deeper, more meaningful approach. Her journey is not about breaking rules simply to be free. It's about questioning the morality behind those rules and choosing integrity over approval. This elevates the genre from youthful romance to a richer exploration of identity and values. One of the most unique genre innovations in Dirty Dancing is how it blends romance with dance as a storytelling medium. In many dance-themed films, dance becomes a decorative or entertaining backdrop. Here, dance operates as emotional dialogue, replacing spoken words with movement, rhythm, and physical expression. It becomes a language of connection, conflict, intimacy, and self-revelation. The choreographed sequences are not inserted merely to entertain. They advance the narrative, deepen relationships, and reveal character development. This integration of dance into the emotional arc sets the film apart from typical romantic dramas and gives it a compelling artistic identity. The film also balances drama and lightness with skill. There are serious topics woven into the narrative, yet they never overshadow the joy, humor, and warmth that make the story uplifting. Heavy themes are introduced thoughtfully, not shockingly. The emotional depth coexists with playful moments, romantic excitement, and musical joy. This balance ensures the film stays engaging for a wide audience. It doesn't lean too heavily into melodrama, nor does it sacrifice seriousness for entertainment. Instead, it creates a harmonious blend that keeps viewers emotionally invested while still feeling entertained by the music, dance, and character interactions. While many romance films rely on predictable tropes like dramatic misunderstandings, exaggerated conflicts, or external villains, Dirty Dancing avoids manufactured drama. The conflicts arise from internal struggles, societal expectations, and personal values rather than contrived plot devices. There is no cartoonish antagonist. The obstacles come from class prejudice, generational beliefs, insecurity, and fear of judgment. This subtlety gives the genre execution a thoughtful edge. The tension feels real, relatable, and grounded in emotional truth. Even the ending subverts some genre expectations. Instead of tying everything neatly with a fairy tale conclusion, the film ends with emotional triumph and personal liberation rather than promising a lifelong love story. The final dance celebrates confidence, individuality, and freedom rather than simply romantic victory. It leaves the audience with joy and fulfillment, but without forcing an unrealistic happily ever after narrative. This refreshing approach respects the genre while giving it a more modern sensibility that still resonates today. Dirty Dancing embraces its genre roots yet evolves beyond them, blending romance, music, social commentary, and emotional maturity in a way that keeps the story timeless. It honors the conventions of romantic storytelling while enriching them with depth, originality, and sincerity. The film balances drama, humor, passion, and tenderness in a way that keeps the audience entertained, emotionally engaged, and unexpectedly moved. Dirty Dancing 1987 may appear on the surface as a light romantic dance film set in the 1960s, but beneath the music, charm, and warm summer nostalgia, it delivers a thoughtful layer of social and cultural commentary. The film addresses issues such as class divide, gender expectations, women's autonomy, prejudice, and generational values, and it does so without ever pausing the story to lecture the audience. These themes are woven into character interactions, plot developments, and emotional conflicts, making them feel organic and meaningful rather than forced. The cultural context of the 1960s enhances the narrative, yet the themes remain relevant decades later, which is one reason the film continues to resonate. One of the most prominent issues explored is class inequality. Kellerman's resort becomes a symbolic representation of social hierarchy, where the wealthy guests are treated with respect and importance, while the working-class staff are expected to serve, entertain, and remain in the background. The invisible barrier separating guests from employees is clear, dictating who belongs where, who speaks to whom, and who is judged. Through Baby's relationship with Johnny, the film exposes how society quickly labels and limits people based on their background, job, or social standing. The commentary is subtle but effective, urging viewers to question assumptions and see individuals beyond class stereotypes. The romance becomes a bridge between social worlds, challenging the unspoken rules that society enforces. Gender roles and expectations are also addressed with remarkable sensitivity for a film of the late 1980s depicting the 1960s. Baby's character challenges traditional expectations of young women, who were often raised to be polite, obedient, and prepared to follow a socially approved life path. Instead of pursuing the polished life her parents expect, Baby questions norms, seeks truth, stands up for others, and chooses her own journey. Her courage in stepping into male-dominated conversations, making decisions without permission, and defending those who lack power highlights the early movements of female empowerment. The film suggests that real strength lies not in outward rebellion, but in moral conviction and emotional bravery. A particularly bold element of the film's cultural commentary is the storyline involving Penny. Through her, the film addresses the stigma, shame, and lack of medical support surrounding women's reproductive choices during that era. This is handled with sincerity and care rather than sensationalism. Penny's situation reflects the harsh reality of a time when women's bodies were judged more than understood, and when access to safe medical care depended heavily on social class. The film does not moralize or exploit her storyline. Instead, it uses it to expose societal hypocrisy, highlight compassion, and offer a humane perspective. Baby's intervention, and the contrast between her father's initial reaction and eventual understanding, reflects a shift in social consciousness, encouraging empathy over judgment. The film also explores generational differences, especially between Baby and her father. Their relationship becomes a lens through which the audience can observe the clash between traditional values and progressive thinking. Her father represents the older generation's belief in social boundaries, status, and protection rooted in moral certainty, while Baby embodies a more questioning mindset, refusing to accept rules simply because they have always existed. Their emotional conflict is not just personal. It symbolizes the shift of an era. The film shows how love within families can coexist with disagreement, and how growth sometimes requires uncomfortable conversations and redefining long-held beliefs. Cultural expectations surrounding masculinity are also subtly examined. Johnny's struggle is not only about social class but about proving his worth beyond physical talent. He faces constant judgment, not for who he is, but for how society labels him. The pressure to appear tough, the lack of space for vulnerability, and the assumption that he is morally inferior because of his job reflect a societal bias about men from certain backgrounds. His emotional openness with Baby challenges the stereotype, suggesting that personal value is not defined by social position or masculine identity, but by integrity and emotional truth. Music and dance also play a role in the cultural commentary. Dance becomes a form of rebellion, expression, and liberation. The contrast between the stiff, formal guest dancing and the passionate, rhythmic style of the staff reflects a cultural divide between tradition and authenticity. Dance in the film becomes symbolic of freedom, individuality, and self-expression, breaking restrictions imposed by society. These elements of social and cultural commentary do not overshadow the romance or entertainment. Instead, they enrich the story with depth and meaning. The film handles complex topics with sensitivity, subtlety, and emotional intelligence, allowing viewers to enjoy the story while absorbing its reflections on society, identity, and change. Dirty Dancing 1987 is the kind of film that doesn't just entertain its audience. It lingers with them long after the credits roll, creating a personal connection that feels almost nostalgic, even for viewers who didn't live through the era it portrays. It sparks emotional responses across the spectrum, from laughter during its light-hearted, playful moments to genuine tears as characters navigate heartbreak, disappointment, and self-discovery. The emotional flow is carefully crafted, allowing the audience to feel invested in the characters as if they are accompanying them through a pivotal chapter of their lives. There is a familiarity in the experiences shown, whether it is a first love, a moment of bravery, a misunderstood decision, or a leap into the unknown, and this relatability enhances the audience's emotional engagement. One of the strongest elements that draws audiences in is the character journey. Viewers often find themselves rooting for Baby not just because she is the protagonist, but because she represents a universal desire to grow, to step out of comfort zones, and to stand up for what truly matters. When Baby struggles, the audience feels her frustration. When she triumphs, there is a sense of shared victory. Her awkward bravery is both endearing and inspiring, making it easy for viewers to remember their own defining moments of courage. Johnny's story also resonates deeply, especially with those who have felt underestimated, misjudged, or confined by labels imposed by others. His vulnerability beneath the rough exterior invites empathy and emotional connection, drawing viewers into his world and making his emotional breakthroughs feel meaningful. The romantic chemistry between Baby and Johnny plays a significant role in keeping audiences emotionally invested. Their dynamic captures the thrill of young, unexpected love, filled with tension, tenderness, and discovery. The dance rehearsals, the stolen moments of connection, and the gradual breaking down of emotional walls all create an intimate journey that audiences feel part of. These moments evoke butterflies, nostalgia, and warmth, as if the viewer is witnessing an unforgettable summer love that changes two people forever. Their relationship doesn't rely on exaggerated drama, but on sincerity, which is why audiences return to the film repeatedly. Not because they forget how it ends, but because they want to relive the feeling it creates. Humor also contributes to the film's engagement, offering levity that keeps the audience smiling and entertained. The playful banter, the awkward comedic moments as Baby learns to dance, and the exaggerated personalities of certain side characters provide refreshing breaks from the film's more serious themes. These lighter scenes create balance, making the emotional journey more natural and well-rounded. Audiences find themselves laughing not at the characters, but with them, which strengthens the sense of connection. There are moments in the film that consistently generate strong emotional reactions, no matter how many times viewers watch. Penny's storyline brings tension, empathy, and heartache, often leaving a lasting emotional imprint due to the rawness of her situation. The iconic final dance number has the power to elicit chills, joy, and a surge of emotional satisfaction as the characters finally break free of the limitations placed upon them. The audience feels the triumph of that moment as if it is a personal victory, not just a cinematic one, which is why the finale remains one of the most beloved scenes in film history. Dirty Dancing also invites discussion, both during and after the viewing experience. Viewers often reflect on the social issues, the emotional growth of the characters, and the significance of certain turning points in the story. It encourages conversations about courage, societal norms, self-worth, and personal independence. Many find themselves revisiting the film not only for enjoyment but to rediscover details, emotional nuances, or deeper meanings that they may not have noticed before. The film has developed a timeless quality, attracting repeat viewings across generations. Parents share it with their children, friends watch it together, and fans return to it when they crave comfort, inspiration, or a reminder of first love. Ultimately, the film's impact lies in its ability to create a personal emotional experience. It touches the heart, stirs reflection, ignites nostalgia, and offers warmth that makes viewers feel connected to the story long after it ends. Dirty Dancing doesn't simply play out on screen. It becomes a memory, an emotional imprint, and a shared cultural experience that audiences continue to revisit, discuss, and hold close. When talking about Dirty Dancing 1987, it becomes impossible not to draw comparisons with other iconic romantic dance films, coming-of-age romances, and even later attempts to recapture the same magic. What makes these comparisons interesting is that Dirty Dancing didn't just join a genre, it shaped and elevated it, setting a standard that many films have tried to reach ever since. While there were dance-centered films before it, such as Saturday Night Fever or Flashdance, Dirty Dancing carved out a unique space by marrying dance with heartfelt romance, intimate character growth, and social commentary. Unlike films that focus primarily on the spectacle of dance, where choreography takes center stage over storytelling, Dirty Dancing uses dance as an emotional language, a tool for self-expression and transformation, which gives it a distinct and lasting edge. When placed beside other romantic dance films, Dirty Dancing stands out for the grounded, emotionally rich relationship at its core. Many similar films rely on the classic format of two mismatched individuals falling in love through dance rehearsals and overcoming obstacles to perform the final show-stopping routine. While Dirty Dancing uses that familiar formula, it enhances it with real-life themes that add weight and meaning beyond the stage or dance floor. Its romantic arc is not built solely on attraction or glamour, but on emotional evolution, mutual respect, and personal awakening for both leads. Compared to films that focus heavily on fantasy or exaggerated romance, Dirty Dancing maintains a sincerity that resonates with audiences on a personal level, making the connection between Baby and Johnny feel more authentic than many of its genre counterparts. Even when comparing it to other coming-of-age romances, Dirty Dancing continues to hold a unique place. Many films in this category center around teenage crushes or first loves that fade with the summer, but this story leans into emotional change, moral courage, and personal values. Baby's journey isn't simply about falling in love. It's about learning to stand for something, confront difficult truths, and make choices that defy the expectations placed upon her. This gives the narrative more depth than the average summer romance film, which often focuses more on nostalgia and less on inner transformation. Dirty Dancing balances youthful innocence with maturity, allowing it to appeal to both younger viewers discovering it for the first time and adults revisiting it through wiser eyes. The film's legacy becomes even more impressive when compared to later works that attempted to recreate its success. Numerous dance romance films over the decades drew inspiration from its formula, yet very few reached the same cultural impact. The attempts to modernize its essence or replicate its emotional beats often miss the delicate harmony that Dirty Dancing achieved. Some imitate the dance training bonding trope. Others try to replicate the forbidden romance or the climactic dance performance, but they rarely blend all elements with the same natural ease. Dirty Dancing's balance of warmth, passion, social awareness, and romance remains difficult to replicate because it never feels manufactured or forced. It captures lightning in a bottle, a quality that is clear when comparing it to newer films in the genre that feel more polished yet less heartfelt. Within the director's filmography, Dirty Dancing stands as the defining achievement. Emile Ardolino was known for bringing a sense of intimacy and authenticity to his direction, and while he directed other successful projects, none resonated as deeply in popular culture as this one. His background in dance-related work allowed him to approach the film with a respect for the art form, while still prioritizing emotional storytelling. In comparison to other dance-focused films directed by others, where style often overtakes substance, Ardolino maintained a careful alignment between visual rhythm, character beats, and emotional payoff. What also sets Dirty Dancing apart from similar films is its ability to transcend its genre and era. Many dance movies feel tied to the styles, trends, or musical choices of their time, but this film continues to appeal to new audiences across generations. It delivers nostalgia without feeling outdated, and while firmly rooted in the 1960s setting, its themes and emotional truths remain universal. This is a key factor that keeps it relevant in comparisons, as it is often placed not just within the dance romance category, but among timeless romantic dramas that leave a cultural imprint. So when comparing Dirty Dancing to similar works, whether through theme, style, story, or influence, it doesn't simply stand shoulder to shoulder with them. It stands slightly ahead, with a legacy that influenced the films that followed. It became a benchmark for how to blend dance, storytelling, and meaningful emotion into one unforgettable cinematic experience, making it a reference point that many others aspire to but rarely match. Dirty Dancing 1987 may seem on the surface like a romantic dance film set in a summer resort, but beneath the choreography, music, and blooming romance lies a rich layer of symbolism and metaphor that elevates the storytelling far beyond the obvious. Throughout the film, dance itself becomes one of the most powerful metaphors, functioning as a form of liberation, expression, rebellion, and personal awakening. Dance in this movie is never just movement. It becomes a language, a tool of transformation, and a symbol of stepping into one's true self. Baby's journey is reflected in the way she learns to move, shifting from stiff, structured, rule-following steps to fluid, confident, emotionally connected dancing, mirroring her shift from a sheltered girl to a young woman who begins thinking and feeling for herself. The class divide in the film is symbolized through physical spaces and visual cues that subtly highlight the social barriers between characters. The elegant main resort, where wealthy guests dine, socialize, and enjoy curated entertainment, stands in contrast to the staff quarters and hidden dance spaces, where passion, authenticity, and real emotion thrive. Baby literally crosses boundaries when she enters these private staff rooms and dance halls, symbolically stepping into a world she was never meant to see. These places become metaphors for societal walls and the courage needed to break through them. Each time Baby steps into a new space, it signals emotional growth and another layer of innocence being peeled away. Johnny and Baby themselves serve as metaphors for two different worlds colliding. Baby represents idealism, empathy, and the desire to do what is right. Johnny represents experience, hardship, and the struggle to survive within the limitations society places on those with fewer advantages. Their relationship serves as a symbolic bridge between privilege and reality. Baby's willingness to step into Johnny's world, not as a tourist but as someone who wants to understand and help, becomes a metaphor for dismantling prejudice and learning to see people beyond labels. There are recurring visual motifs that reinforce the film's deeper messages. One particularly strong symbol is the idea of lifting and being lifted. The iconic lift at the climax is not just a dance move. It represents trust, freedom, and letting go of fear. Throughout the film, Baby attempts and fails to master this lift, symbolizing her internal struggle to break free from the expectations placed upon her. When she finally succeeds in the final performance, it becomes a metaphor for embracing her courage, independence, and newfound identity. It marks the moment she rises above societal constraints, no longer held down by the roles others assigned her. Water also appears as a symbolic element, especially in the practice scenes by the lake. Water has long been used in storytelling as a metaphor for rebirth, cleansing, and transformation. Baby and Johnny rehearsing in the water reflects vulnerability, honesty, and stripping away pretenses. It visually conveys Baby's initiation into a world where authenticity matters more than perfection or appearances. The lake becomes a symbolic baptism into adulthood, freedom, and emotional truth. The film uses music lyrically and thematically to enhance these symbolic layers. Songs aren't placed just for mood. Many lyrics speak to the unspoken emotional undercurrents of scenes, symbolizing desire, longing, hesitation, and inner evolution. Music becomes a metaphor for emotional honesty in a world where characters are often forced to lie, hide, or pretend. The recurring motif of time passing, referenced through songs and dialogue, symbolizes the fleeting nature of certain life moments that shape us but cannot be held onto forever. Even Baby's name functions as a metaphor. She begins the film as Baby, a child in everyone's eyes, protected, sheltered, and underestimated. As the film progresses, she sheds that identity and steps into adulthood, symbolically becoming her true self, Frances. The shift is subtle but powerful, suggesting that personal growth is not loud or dramatic, but rooted in experiences that change how we see ourselves and others. In each of these symbolic choices, Dirty Dancing adds depth to its narrative, allowing visual cues, metaphors, and motifs to enhance the emotional and thematic meaning of the story. The film invites the audience to look beneath the dance routines and love story to find the transformative journey, the social boundaries being challenged, and the quiet but powerful awakening of a young woman learning to stand firmly in her truth. Dirty Dancing 1987 may not have started as a franchise, but it certainly built a legacy that expanded beyond the original film. However, before exploring its later sequels and adaptations, it is important to recognize that the movie itself is rooted in a very specific historical context. Set in the summer of 1963, the story unfolds just before major cultural and political shifts that would reshape America. The film captures a transitional moment in history, where traditional family values and social norms were on the verge of being challenged by the rise of youth culture, civil rights movements, changing gender roles, and evolving moral attitudes. This setting creates a nostalgic yet layered backdrop that makes the story more than just a romance. It becomes a reflection of a generation standing at the edge of change. The resort environment represents a world holding on to old traditions, where families visited the same holiday spots, listened to respectable music, and maintained strict class boundaries, unaware of how quickly society was about to transform. Against this backdrop, the film immerses viewers in an authentic slice of early 60s American life, from clothing and music to social etiquette and generational expectations. While Dirty Dancing is often remembered for its sparkling chemistry and dance sequences, it also captures the historical context with subtle accuracy. The class divide portrayed in the film mirrors the social hierarchy of the time, where wealth and upbringing determined status and opportunity. Baby comes from a privileged background, representing the upper middle class with access to education and resources, while Johnny symbolizes the working class forced to rely on talent and grit to survive. The film doesn't exaggerate this divide for drama. It accurately reflects the social barriers of early 60s America, where people rarely crossed class lines in relationships or friendships. Through dance, a historically rebellious and expressive art form for youth, the film illustrates how young people began pushing against the norms imposed on them, foreshadowing the cultural revolution that would soon sweep across the decade. Moving beyond its historical setting, Dirty Dancing eventually grew into a small franchise. Its success inspired follow-ups such as Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights, which served more as a reimagined story than a direct sequel. While later films attempted to capture the magic of the original, none carried the same emotional power or cultural impact. The original film remained the heart of the franchise, with its authenticity, relatable characters, and grounded storytelling. Television adaptations, stage musicals, and anniversary re-releases further expanded its legacy, showing how deeply the story resonated with audiences across the world. Each new version tried to introduce fresh perspectives or modern interpretations, but they often reminded viewers of how special the original film truly was. The fact that Dirty Dancing still receives reboots, remakes, and stage adaptations speaks to its historical influence and ongoing relevance. It not only reflects the era in which it was set, but also the decade in which it was made, the late 1980s, a time when audiences were drawn to nostalgic stories and coming-of-age narratives. The film acts as a bridge between two very different time periods, the innocence and restrictions of the 60s, and the bold individuality celebrated in the 80s. This duality contributed to its lasting appeal, allowing audiences from multiple generations to see themselves in the story. When discussing Dirty Dancing 1987, one of the most fascinating parts of its legacy is the story behind its budget and box office performance, because this film is one of the greatest examples of a small movie turning into a massive worldwide success. At the time of production, Dirty Dancing was not seen as a guaranteed hit. In fact, it was considered a modest project with limited expectations. The film was made on a relatively small budget, especially compared to other major releases of the era. With its simple setting at a summer resort, a cast that included rising rather than established stars, and a story that wasn't driven by expensive sets or special effects, the film relied heavily on strong writing, performances, direction, and, of course, unforgettable music and dance sequences to win over audiences. Despite its limited budget, the production quality of Dirty Dancing turned out to be a standout. Instead of spending heavily on lavish sets or excessive visual elements, the filmmakers focused on authenticity. The resort setting, the costumes reflecting the early 1960s period, and the carefully crafted soundtrack all came together to create a film that felt rich, emotionally layered, and visually appealing without requiring a huge financial investment. In many ways, the careful budgeting worked to the film's advantage because it forced the creative team to prioritize storytelling, character development, and emotional engagement over flashy spectacle. The result was a movie with a grounded tone and intimate charm that audiences connected with on a personal level. What makes the financial story even more remarkable is that Dirty Dancing was not predicted to perform strongly in cinemas. Initially, it was expected to be released for a short theatrical run and then move quickly to home video. But something unexpected happened. Once the film hit theaters, audiences responded with enthusiasm, word of mouth grew rapidly, and screenings that were supposed to fade quietly suddenly turned into packed showings. The film quickly transformed into a phenomenon, staying in cinemas for months and continuously drawing new viewers, many of whom watched it more than once. This repeat viewing trend played a huge role in boosting the film's box office numbers. Dirty Dancing didn't just do well. It became a financial triumph far beyond anyone's expectations. It earned many times its production cost, turning into one of the most profitable films of its time. The soundtrack, particularly the signature song, also contributed significantly to the film's financial success. As the songs topped charts and became radio favorites, they pulled even more people toward the movie. The music and the film supported each other's popularity, boosting revenue across multiple entertainment platforms. Home video sales continued the financial success long after the theatrical release, making Dirty Dancing a lasting commercial hit. Marketing also played an interesting role in shaping its earnings, though not in the usual blockbuster sense. Instead of heavy promotional campaigns focusing on spectacle or celebrity star power, the marketing leaned into the emotional appeal of the story, the chemistry between the lead characters, and the power of the dancing and music. This made the film relatable and exciting for a wide range of viewers, from teenagers to adults. Once people started talking about the movie, the audience reception itself became the strongest marketing tool. Viewers recommended it to family, friends, and colleagues, turning the film into a word-of-mouth sensation that grew beyond what traditional advertising could have achieved. What started as a small, low-budget film that almost struggled to find its place ended up becoming a cultural and financial milestone. Dirty Dancing shows how a strong emotional core, compelling characters, and the right creative choices can turn a modestly funded project into a box office powerhouse. It stands as a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected films become the ones that audiences cherish the most, long after their release. For anyone who wants to experience the charm, romance, and unforgettable dance magic of Dirty Dancing 1987, the good news is that this classic is still widely accessible and enjoyed by audiences across generations. While it originally lit up theaters decades ago, the film still makes special returns to cinemas from time to time, especially during anniversary screenings or themed retro movie nights. Watching it on the big screen with surround sound and an audience reacting to the iconic dance moments brings a nostalgic thrill that feels almost like stepping into the world of Kellerman's Resort Yourself. The visual energy of the final performance and the electrifying tension between the lead characters have an entirely different impact when viewed in a theater, making these limited screenings worth looking out for if you ever get the chance. For those who prefer watching at home, the film is commonly available on various streaming platforms, depending on region and licensing. It regularly appears on popular subscription-based services, and audiences can also access it through digital rental and purchase options on major online platforms. Renting it offers an affordable way to revisit the film, while owning it digitally or on physical media provides the joy of watching it again whenever the mood strikes, especially for fans who never tire of the final dance scene or the soundtrack that accompanies it. The film also continues to air on satellite TV channels, especially those that feature classic movies, romantic dramas, or retro cinema programming. These broadcasts often come with themed lineups, making the viewing experience feel curated for nostalgic enjoyment. Choosing the best way to watch Dirty Dancing depends on the kind of atmosphere you want to create. Watching it casually at home on a streaming platform is perfect for a relaxed viewing, but for the fullest impact, it is worth setting up a cozy, distraction-free environment. Dim the lights, turn up the volume to appreciate the music, and allow yourself to get immersed in the story and the emotional beats of the characters. Watching with friends or family members who have seen it before can be a fun shared experience, especially with viewers who enjoy singing along to the soundtrack or anticipating the film's most iconic moments. On the other hand, introducing it to someone who has never seen it can be equally enjoyable, as you get to witness the magic through fresh eyes. For true lovers of the film, physical copies such as Blu-ray editions offer additional value, as they often include behind-the-scenes footage, interviews, deleted scenes, and commentary that provide deeper insight into the making of the movie. This allows fans to enjoy the film on an even more meaningful level, understanding the care, challenges, and creativity that went into bringing it to life. No matter where you choose to watch it, Dirty Dancing remains a timeless experience. Whether enjoyed on a streaming platform, through a digital rental, on television, or revisited during a special cinema screening, the film's emotional energy, music, and iconic dance sequences continue to create a magical connection with audiences everywhere.